Okay, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for bearing with us while we give an extra minute or two for people joining. We're going to jump in. My name's Adam. I am with the product marketing team here at Intermedia, specifically the contact center product marketing team, and I'm really excited to share this with you today. This feature, Easy-IVR, is a big release for us on the contact center side. It's a major enhancement to the contact center product. It's got a myriad benefits for both you, for your customers, for really anyone using this product. And as a bonus, we have another surprise for you as well in here regarding a promo. So really looking forward to sharing this with you today. Just before we jump in, we have our typical housekeeping slides, if you will. Emoji icon, please tell us how you're feeling. Personally, there we go. Thanks, Herb. I like laughter, applause, thumbs up. Sometimes I get the crying face. You know, wow, I got hard eyes. Wow, look at this. This never happens to me. I'm really glad I called this slide out. Okay, clearly you guys know how to use that feature. Q&A. That's kind of the middle icon there with the question mark. If at all possible, it'd be great to get your questions there. I know there's an audience chat. I get it. If we put them in Q&A, it makes it easier to kind of go through them. They're structured. I can go through in sequence. I can, in some cases, show it to the audience. So that would be great if you could use that for your questions, please. I will note this is an early look. This feature is going to land sometime later this month. I don't have my product team here in force, so I will do my best to answer questions directly. Any more advanced ones that I can't get to, or if we just run short on time, rest assured we will follow up and we will get those answered. No questions asked, so to speak. This last icon here is to switch between phone and computer audio, kind of switch between headset and mic, whatever your handset, whatever you may have. So if you're having trouble with one audio mode, just toggle it and try the other, please. Everyone's favorite slide. I love this one, don't you? But we have to do it. Obviously, this is, as usual, the crying face, yes, appropriate. It's confidential. We have agreements. We don't want to break those agreements. Obviously, no one's going to intentionally do that. Stuff in here, as usual, is forward-looking. As I say, this feature should be released later this month. Specific timing, we want to be careful to say that, hey, we do still, that's for informational purposes only. We're obviously going to shoot for what we have here, but we do build in the leeway that it's possible timing on things could change, right? So we don't want to hold it out as a gospel truth, if you want to put it that way. And at the end of the day, timing, features, functionality, pricing, promos, which again, I'll be showing you one of those are still subject to change. We just have to build that leeway in. Okay. I know you're all sad to leave that slide behind, but here we go. Promo. What's the promo? Well, our Q4 promo is your customers can get free Contact Center Express, whether it's through Elevate, whether it's through Unite. This is on the Pro and Enterprise. Okay, so Elevate Pro or Enterprise, Unite Pro or Enterprise. A new customer there can get Contact Center Express for free, which means they get all the contact center benefits that boost sales, improve customer experience. We're going to be talking about that today as part of Easy-IVR. Gain new business insights they didn't have before, whether it's real-time dashboards, historical reporting, so they can see those trends over time. Where are the friction points? Where do I need to put more wood behind the arrows, as they like to say? And this runs through the last day of the year, so December 31st. However, definitely worth noting, customers who qualify for and receive that promo, they will keep Contact Center Express for free for life. Their subscription, their licenses don't expire when the promo does. Thank you. Yeah, it's a good one. And that's roughly a $25, $26 value per month per license. So it's a heck of a promo. And it's a wonderful product on its own. Some people say, well, it's a good way to tiptoe into contact center. Yeah, it could be that, but it's also a very strong, feature-rich, standalone inbound voice contact center product in its own right. So yeah, and we'll do a quick reminder of this later in the presentation, but just wanted to hit that up front, as I say, as an early look. Thanks everybody for the reactions. We appreciate it. So I understand maybe not everyone's selling or deploying contact center, so I'm just going to do a single real quick slide. I'm not going to go super deep on features and functionality, but really at the end of the day, why contact center? Listen, whether you're an SMB, whether you're a small mom and pop shop, a 10-person company, all the way up to enterprise, we've all seen this. Like, to some degree, the phone is now the front door for a lot of companies, right? And this year, what a year, eh, everyone? What a year has driven so many business pivots in so many industries to a more remote model. What does that mean? Well, that means customer experience, even when you can't see the customer, or I should say, especially when you can't see the customer anymore, is more critical than ever. What's that connection? I mean, if you don't always have the in-person connection that you used to, man, I mean, these remote deployments and the experiences that are produced through those deployments are just crucial, right? And listen, correctly deployed and managed cloud contact center, it's going to boost sales. It will. It'll reduce churn. That's huge. The effect on customer retention is profound. And it's going to result in happy, loyal customers, whether that's your customers' customers or whether that's your customers and their relationship with you. Right? So first, with the aid of my friend here, Seneca, a quick history lesson. And I know, by the way, thanks everyone. I see questions coming in. Just to be clear, we will get to those. I'll pause a little later, perhaps after the demo. We'll see how timing's going. We will answer all of those. So I'm not ignoring them. I am seeing them come in. I just want to get through the bulk of the material, and then we'll take a pause for Q&A. So thank you for submitting them. First, a quick history lesson. So IVR, as many of us may know, is interactive voice response. And these have always been at the heart of a good contact center. Well, almost any contact center, really. But listen, they used to be kind of complex, and that's what we're going to be talking about here. And although we may not all be experts in configuring, selling, deploying, supporting, editing them, we're probably all experts in using them. Why? Because we've all used them many times. I know you're calling, hello, thank you for calling Acme Inc. For sales, press 1. For Wile E. Coyote gadgets, press 2. Whatever the case may be, we've all heard that. We've all been there. And we know what a good one looks like and what a bad experience looks like. So again, done right, IVRs really get at that core contact center experience, which is boosting sales and enhancing customer experience. But they used to take days or even longer in some cases. Some cases they took weeks. The longest I've ever heard of, I'm not going to name names, but a certain competitor we're probably most familiar with, before they came to us, gave a response to a customer along the lines of, thank you for your IVR request. And it wasn't overly complicated. We expect to have this done in about 5 months' time. Not making it up. That really did happen. So what did that mean? Well, that meant specialized teams, right? Maybe it was your teams. Maybe you had to do some of this work or all of this work. Maybe it was the provider, on our side, or perhaps on another unified communications or telco provider. Maybe they were doing it, which meant, of course, there's a queue with a whole bunch of these things to be built, and it's very hard to get through all of them in a timely manner and still, tick all the boxes. Could be an internal IT team at the customer. Maybe the customer used to have to bring in consultants. I was at a company where that used to be the norm. You'd pay thousands of dollars, sometimes even more, to bring consultants in and build these things for you. And even then, it wasn't all that fast. So that meant delayed contact center deployments. It wasn't just the IVR that took longer. Like, the IVR is crucial. You can't really spin up the contact center without it. So the overall deployment dragged out as a result. And it wasn't just new IVRs that were affected. Changing existing ones could also be challenging and ultimately expensive, right? Time and effort equates to money, even if the upfront cost isn't huge. So that was then. This is now. Seneca's very happy about this. So today, well, later this month, Intermedia introduces Easy-IVR. Yay! Thanks, Herb. And this is going to put the power of IVR creation in the hands of both you, our partners, thanks everybody, and savvy customers. Hey, if you've got a customer is up for it and they're technically capable and they want to do it, by all means, right? You can open that up for them, right? You can build an IVR in as little as 5 minutes, and that's not. I know. I'm a marketing guy, so everyone's like, yeah, marketing says it can be done in 5 minutes. No, I actually, and this will be part of the materials we distribute later this month, I actually recorded a video where I walk through the whole thing, and it comes in right around the 4 minute mark. Now, again, to be fair, it's a simple deployment, single language. I'll cover that later. We're going to do a little demo later. I'll show you all that stuff. But it really can be done. You could do it in, or let's be safer. Let's be more conservative. Let's say 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's still incredibly fast. Right? Historically, that's a big, big difference. And so yeah, when we release it later this month, we'll show you that time-stamped video. There's a the little time code that ticks down or ticks up, I should say. That's running in the top right corner. You can see like it's all legit. And again, Easy-IVR is not just for new builds. You can also use it, or your customers can use it to go in and modify an existing IVR. No ticket, no support case, no trail to follow up on. Just get in there and make your changes, and out you go. Get back to business. All right, so that's the what. What's the so what? Well, look, this is more clear evidence of our partner enablement strategy. We're looking to greatly streamline onboarding and changes for you when you're helping your customers. It gives you more control during the deployment process. It brings added value. Again, like a lot of customers, although this is pretty streamlined tools, I'll show you later, a lot of them still, they're just not going to want to do it themselves, right? They aren't. So there you go. There's an in, right? Elevate your status. See what we did there? As a trusted advisor. And ultimately, I think because you can kind of see behind the curtain now and what the call flows look like, that gives you a better insight into the customer's business processes and practices, right? Like you might see through Easy-IVR, for example, you might see that, I don't know, let's say option 2 is repair, service and warranty queue, okay? And you can see that. And you hear from your customer, perhaps in a conversation with them, that, yeah, I mean, they keep doing well thanks to the IVR setup with fielding those calls, but we're getting demand through other channels now. Right, like the phone calls are not enough to keep up with this service and warranty thing, perhaps due to this year. Well, that could be an in for something like, omni-channel options. Maybe it's something a la carte if they're on the kind of pro contact center. If they're maybe they want to move up to the top package, right, where they get built-in omni-channel. So, you know how it is: email, web chat, SMS, that sort of thing. So just ideas, right? Ways it could open some doors. All right, nuts and bolts. Not too granular here. We're going to go high level. Well, let me take a step back. These used to, if you were designing one of these, and I can actually show you later in the demo, it used to look like, it was basically like a drag and drop interface with a ton of inputs and outputs and arrows all over the place. And it became, you spent an hour on it, it looked like a spider web by the time you were done, right? All these options and flows all over the place. And we still have that, the IVR Studio, just to be really clear, that's not going away. But here's the deal. We did a kind of an internal survey of customers, and we found that almost 2/3 of IVRs fit within the Easy-IVR schema, right? They were a fairly clean, fairly straightforward, minimal muss and fuss IVR deployments. So the vast majority will actually fit nicely in this. IVR Studio is still there. If you need something more advanced or custom, for example, if you want to, after someone punches in their case or ticket number, you want to do a lookup in a CRM and pull the status, and based on that status, do something different in your routing, maybe escalate or whatever. That's fine. We still have IVR Studio to be very clear. But for the rest, which is the majority, we have Easy-IVR. And what does it look like? Well, it's really clean. It's form fields, it's drop-down lists, it's text fields where you have to enter, let's say, a description for a prompt, or maybe enter if you're doing a blind transfer to an outside number, you could do that as well. And it's got 4 simple stages that you move through, right? Or steps, they're actually called in the wizard. You can kind of go backwards or forwards in time if you like. You can fast forward to the last step and then go back to step 2, and you don't lose anything. Everything you enter as it goes through each field is saved. So if you need to jump around during the process, that's okay. It's not so rigid that you have to move straight from 1 to 2 through 3 where things break. It doesn't work like that. And it pulls in pre-built elements such as schedules and, if you've recorded wave prompts, that sort of thing. This one bears a little more detail, warrants a little more detail. You could think of Easy-IVR, because again, it's a simplified version, as sort of an assembly line or an on-rails bolt together where you have pre-existing pieces of the contact center, let's say your queues, your prompts, your working hours, your schedules, these kinds of things. And Easy-IVR helps you bring all those together and assemble them on the fly. And out the other end, you get a nice shiny new IVR, just like you'd get a car, right? But it's important to know that there is it does make some assumption that the customer has done some of the work already, right? Like I wouldn't position this as hey, you can go in here and if you've never heard a thing about a contact center before, you can do it from scratch. Well, no, there are certain prerequisites, but assuming those are done and we have this all documented, again, it'll be covered later this month with a walkthrough video. It's really fast, right? So that's kind of the spirit of what this release is all about. Just wanted to expand on that. Thanks for indulging me. And there's error checking, of course, before you go live. My first time through it, it flagged all kinds of errors at me, but they're really easy to fix, again, because they're highlighted on each page, each step, and you can just jump back and forth as needed until you fix them, and you won't lose any changes as you go, right? And again, I'm going to show you that later, hopefully without too many errors. Nuts and bolts. Features. This is the kind of stuff that you and or the customer will be asked for in Easy-IVR. I'm actually going to, just so you can see this a little bigger, I'm going to stop my webcam and you'll get a little more real estate on the screen. There we go, a little better. Okay. So you'd specify the prompts to be used, or they would, and provide a description of each, right? You'll upload the pre-recorded prompt files. Again, that's WAV format, please. And then menu options. This is kind of the crux of it. There are 4 simple, straightforward actions you can take for each option. And when I say option, I mean this 1 through 10, I'm sorry, rather 1 through 0 layout you see here. So just corresponding to your normal phone keypad, right? So for each option, let's say it's 1 for sales. You can do a queue. You point that to your existing queues, or I should mention, you can actually create a queue on the fly in Easy-IVR. That is something it helps you do. If you realize, oh shoot, yeah, I need to map to the sales queue. I haven't built it yet. You can actually build it right there, which is fantastic enhancement, if you ask me. You can do a blind transfer. All right, so that could go to a number that you've set up and it's maybe allocated somewhere in your contact center setup, or it could be an outside number, right? It doesn't have to be one you've predefined. Voicemail goes to a voicemail box, or more precisely to an email address, right? And then it gives you the option to add a voicemail greeting, if play this, right, before it goes to voicemail, and not set up as obvious if you're not using that option. If your customer's not using that option, so be it. You don't have to set those up. Yes, it supports multiple languages, 8, in fact, I believe. English, of course, there's Spanish, there's French, there's German, there's Dutch. I forget a couple others, but there's quite a few in there. I will note this, again, everyone, this is just a positioning thing for when you're talking to customers. If they're using multiple languages, they do need to understand that the build time is going to climb accordingly. It's not crazy. It doesn't double every time you add a language, but it's going to mean obviously you've got multiple prompts, right? And you're going to have to provide descriptions for those. You're going to have separate WAV files. So just something to be aware of. Still really fast compared to how it was done historically. But that's how we got that 5-minute time, right? It's single language, and honestly, a lot of IVRs will be, so it shouldn't be a big barrier. Yeah, and prompts for each language. It incorporates schedules. Again, I'll show you that in a bit. But basically, you can set a time during which the main menu is available, and the time during which the sales queue is available, and maybe the support queue has a different set of hours. Maybe they're open till 7 o'clock instead of 5. That sort of thing. And it handles, excuse me, both off hours and no agent conditions or treatments, if you. All right. Moving ahead. I'm going to go a little quicker here because, again, I'm going to be showing most of this in the demo, so I won't go into excruciating detail on this. But basically, step 1, general, you give the IVR name, right? How many languages do you want? What are they? That's where you're going to specify this. And if you add extra languages, you'll see, extra elements become available accordingly. You will upload your pre-recorded prompt files and provide a description for them. Pretty easy, right? That's step 1. Step 2 is the menu. This is the most involved one. Again, that's kind of the crux of it. For every menu option, we're saying, what are we doing? What action are we taking? Queue, line transfer, voicemail, not set up, right? And again, if queue doesn't exist, Easy-IVR is going to let them create one on the fly. Great. You can choose a background music track. There are about 8 to 12 already pre-populated, all open source ones. No copyright concerns there. You can just pick whichever one they like. Thank you, Scott. And you choose a prompt for each language. Again, in this screenshot, it's just the one language to keep things simple. English. Give a description for that prompt, and you just go down the list. For every option, that's what you're doing. What action am I taking? Which of these 4 actions, right? And I need to specify if it's a queue, I need to say which queue it's going to. If it's a blind transfer, which number is it going to? If it's a voicemail, okay, fine. What is the voicemail box or voicemail email address, and what's the prompt? And that's it, right? Like that's the core of it. There's a couple more steps here. Again, I'll just go quick, but that's basically it. So step 3 is schedules, and again, these are assumed to be pre-built, like they will have defined this by this point in their working hours. I'll show you where that is. And you choose the schedule for each component. Like I say, there's main menu. Sometimes people set it to 24/7, and then the schedule for each element, like your queues here, right? And then step 4 is off hours. This step actually rolls up the 2 conditions: after hours treatment and no agent treatment. After hours treatment, pretty obvious. You called in, it's not business hours, probably not an agent in the queue. And that's why, because it's after hours, no big deal. No agent, mechanically, it's actually the same. You specify the same thing, like the prompt, the description, you choose the action. But the context is a little different for no agent. That's, well, you called in and it is during scheduled hours, we're open, but for some reason, there's no agent in that queue. It does happen. So that's why the wizard has you fill in, what do you want to happen in that case, right? And then pre-publishing, it'll check for errors, it'll flag them. I'm going to show you a bunch of errors when we do the demo, so you see what it looks like. They're really easy to find. They're flagged in line, and as I say, you can just go backward and forward until you've solved them all. And as you fill in each field, and resolve it, that progress is saved. When you go to a next step, you're not losing anything, right? Okay. And we mean what we say. When you hit publish, the IVR is live within, a few minutes, let's say at the most minutes, with a no additional approval process. It's not sitting in, an email inbox somewhere waiting to be actioned. As I say, there's no follow-up. You don't have to jump on the phone or chat or what have you to try to figure out what's going on with their IVR. It's, yeah, thank you. Up she goes. It's really lovely. Okay, got a little bit of messaging here. Again, everyone, just suggestions. By all means, make like Bruce Lee, absorb what's useful here, discard what you don't find useful. Just ideas, just messaging that we've come up with that we've been using in many cases. If you can use it, wonderful. I'll just go through these quick. Listen, what can partners do? Well, it helps you own more of those service deployment stories and customer success stories, right? It's going to help you onboard contact center customers a lot faster, like 30. I don't know if I mentioned this. It's not just the 2/3 figure I threw out earlier. It's nearly 1/3. It's about 31%, I believe, of support tickets are related on the contact center side. Contact center tickets are related to IVR creation and deployment and support and changing. You see where this is going, right? It's a major differentiator, this one. You can deepen the trusted advisor status. Now you can tailor those IVRs or help them tailor their IVRs to something that really suits their business, right? It's a streamlined model, but Easy-IVR still does allow for flexibility and creativity, right? And it gives you, as we say, an even deeper understanding of customers' businesses. You can see behind the curtain there. You can see those call flows. You get a better idea of the business mechanics behind how they're running their contact center, and that can be really valuable. What else? You can leverage that new knowledge to offer additional services. Like we said earlier, let's say you find out that there's this one queue for service and warranties, and they're doing well on the voice side, but man, like they're having trouble because customers are demanding to be able to reach them through other methods. Perfect upsell opportunity, right? You can increase stickiness with customers. You can make them, this is probably the greatest differentiator of all, right? Be easier and more pleasant, frankly, to do business with than the competition. That's a wonderful place for a customer to get to. What about them? Well, for them, I mean, they can boost sales just by virtue of knowing all their calls are going to be answered. Sounds simple, right? But it's not. That's huge. Missed calls means missed opportunities, and this is not a great year for missing a lot of opportunities, right? They can reduce their churn by elevating the support and help desk effectiveness, partly because of the structure, partly because of how you can get more context when people are routed properly, and partly because of the back end reporting. They can really see over time, what are those friction points, right? So Easy-IVR helps directly or indirectly with all of these things. They can take matters in their own hands, handle their own IVR setup and support. Yeah, there's this statistic I had in mind. 31% of tickets are related to IVR support. It's a lot. They can accelerate onboarding by doing their own IVR, if that's the case. If they want to do that, hey, no problem. If you want to give that ability to them, hey, more power to them. They can improve experience for their customers in turn. And again, they can be easier to do business with. This next one, again, it depends obviously on the customer and their setup, but using certain numbers, it's been shown that small business owners could potentially save 20 to 40,000 a year by deploying an IVR. That's about what an IVR system can help you save. Again, factors depending. Hey, contact us for a demo and start thinking about what you do with those savings. It's a good message, right? Again, just ideas for you, just building blocks. Feel free to adopt them as you see fit. And a few pitches for the customer, not based on ROI, but more high-level benefits. Would you say you're easy to do business with in the competition? Would your customers say the same thing? That's two separate questions, right? They might not. Would you like to be easier to do business with? And with an IVR system, you can be. Let's schedule a quick demo so we can show you how. Okay, just a moment. This is just a reminder of a recap of that promo. I won't go through it again, but just to keep it top of mind. And then we're going to fire up actually, you know what? Let's do it a little differently. It's not breaking the rules here, moderators. Why don't we do questions now? I've seen quite a few come in. Let me just bring those up real quick, everyone. I want to take some of the pressure off before we get into the demo. First question, in-house admin, is it unable to attend? Yes, this is being recorded. Yes, it will be distributed, no problem. Usually within a day or so, but we'll figure out the exact timing. But yes, absolutely. Will this work with all 3 contact center products? Excellent question. This is really the Pro and Elite ones. That's where you'd find the IVR versus, on the contact center express side, it's going to be more auto attendant that you set up through Hostpilot. So yeah, it's Pro and Elite. But what you will notice, Herschel, the look and feel is very similar to what you'll see in Hostpilot, and the form fields and everything have been styled the same way. So it's quite intuitive. Q4 promo, is that only for new customers? Yes, I'm afraid it is. I don't believe current clients can ask for it, Jan. Thank you for the question, though. Can I, as a partner PLR, obtain the contact center express promo for my current NFR account? I'm not sure. I will find out and get back to you. Thank you. If a customer signs up for contact center, can they later upgrade to Pro or Elite? Yes. Yes, they can. Yeah. So is there no simple automated attendant functionality built in without adding on the contact center as well? There is actually, yes. Paul, that's a great question. There is built-in auto attendant functionality, yes, if we're talking about Unite/Elevate. You don't have to add contact center to get an auto attendant, but to get the IVR, which is, not to split hairs, it's a slightly different beast, right? Then that's when you would go to the Pro and Elite, right, for the IVR, customizable IVR pieces. Steve, yeah, so Easy-IVR, again, it's really somewhat a distinction in terminology, right? You can build IVRs this way, auto attendants the other way. If they're satisfied, if your customers are working well with the capabilities on Express and auto attendants, then hey, wonderful. Just checking my time. I'll do 1 or 2 more if I can. I think we've covered that one. Okay, metrics and reports, good one. Yes. Whether you're going with Contact Center Express, which again is the auto attendant side, or Pro and Elite, which is the IVR, which we're showing today, yes, you get extensive reporting capabilities. In both cases, both have a mixture of real-time um, real-time insights as they happen, and of course a wealth of reports on the backside, historical, long-term reports by various categories and different ways of skinning it. Um, Monitoring, right? Whether it's for the ability for supervisors to see what's going on in real time, to take action on a call, to whisper, monitor, to barge if need be, take over the call. These things are all part of all three packages. They feel a little differently on each, but yes, the answer is yes. Okay, thanks everyone. I know we didn't get every single question, but hopefully that takes the pressure off a little bit. Just 1 second here, and I am going to fire up a quick, simple demo. Okay. And if even one or two people want to, it looks like that's sharing just fine, but if you want to throw a thumbs up or any emoji at all, just to let me know you can see that. That would be immensely helpful. Thank you. Awesome. Beautiful. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so that's across the board. Yes, it's lovely. Okay. So I'm not gonna do a whole tour with the interface. I know it's gonna get too confusing, but I just want to point to a few things that you or they would be assembling during the Easy-IVR process, right? So things like working hours, right? You're going to be using voice recordings. You're going to be using prompts. You see what I mean? We don't have to dive into all that stuff. The point is, again, some of these things do need to be ready before they start Easy-IVR. That's all I'm getting at, right? Okay, and when they're ready, we go to IVRs. This is where we land. This is actually an important page. There are two types of IVRs here. The ones with the pencil icon and the trash. These are all Easy-IVR ones. We can, in fact, I might do that. I can edit an existing one. You see a draft IVR. These other ones were created, again, I made this distinction earlier, in IVR Studio. That is the more powerful one, but also the more complex. Not everyone, usually we end up building those IVRs ourselves for the most part. And those IVRs created in IVR Studio look a little different. You can see here it's just the advanced settings we can tweak for those. We can't get in there and edit them or change them or make updates and change the flow the way we could with these. So these ones, again, these are built in Easy-IVR, right? All these ones with the horrible names, all Easy-IVR, and these ones here with the gear are built in IVR Studio. Okay, let's actually go into this one. Probably going to be the easiest. So again, this is a scenario where the IVR already exists. Honestly, the process is exactly the same. I could create a new one just as easily. This just has a few things filled in, so it's going to be a little easier for demo purposes. That's all. So again, step one, general. It needs a name. How many languages do you need? There's the other ones I was missing. 6, my bad, not 8. 6 languages total. That's where you'd pick them. And what would happen if I'll show you. You see what happens here? This extra section gets added, and this is what's called a language prompt. And a language prompt says something to the effect of, please choose your language. And then you have these language buttons. Why is that important? Because this kind of puts them on a track, if you will. I press 1 for English, right, or 2 for Spanish, or whatever the case is, whether it's German. And then I'm kind of on that track. I hear that language as I go forward. Doesn't mean you're stuck on that track. You can use, I think it's pound, but I'd have to check that, to go back, right, and get back to this language prompt where that choice was made, where the path kind of split. No problem. But that's, this is where you do it, right? And so this is where you specify, what do you press to get what language. I think for today's purposes, let's keep it clean, right? I just wanted to show you that's entirely possible. But if I added 3 languages, we'd be doing 3 of everything. So the main menu prompt, what are we doing here? Well, we're saying what does this prompt do? It tells them what their options are. You give it a description. I write it as this is what the prompt contains. Some people would, literally spell out the contents of the prompt, put verbatim what the script is. That's fine too. And then this is, as you can see, there's been a WAV file uploaded, right? And again, just one language, but if you had more, this is where they'd appear. There's one for English, one for Spanish. You can listen to it, you can play it, you can delete it, all right? I can collapse this to make this a little cleaner. There we go. So option one, what's the first thing we do? We choose an action, like we were saying earlier, right? Could be a queue. If it's a queue, normally what we do is we'd select our queue from here, but this is the feature I mentioned earlier. You can create a new one. I'm not going to do that here because I don't want to. It's a staging account. I don't want to break too many things. But you can see that's where you do it. If you got to this point, and thought, oh crap, I know I need that queue, but I totally forgot to do it earlier in that admin portal that Adam was showing me. That's okay. You can do it on the fly. Right? Now let's expand this. So under here, we kind of customize this queue a bit. The playlist is music track, like I was saying. Oh, there's a few more than I thought. You can choose whichever one, or they can choose whichever one they want. Give it a description, upload the file. I don't know if I have any ready. I don't. That's okay. We don't have to go that far. That's where you'd upload the file. Now the second prompt, what's that? That's an on-hold prompt, right? It could be, we'll be with you soon, or it could be some kind of promotional message, maybe something around wait time or something like that. And then again, you upload the file and provide the description. So just to be clear, there's a prompt when they hit the queue, which is, hey, welcome to the sales queue. We'll be with you soon, whatever. And then the on hold one could be whatever the customer prefers, right? People could use all that for all kinds of purposes. Okay, for cleanliness sake, let's close that up. Option two, here I said, well, I'm not going to use a queue. I'm going to use voicemail, right? And I said, well, what's the email address? Well, send it to this one. I just made this up, legal team, they don't like taking calls, so leave them a voicemail message, right? So the description was just, hey, if you want to reach legal, please leave a message now. And you upload the file, and that's it. Pretty straightforward there. For this, just for good measure, I threw a blind transfer in here. In this case, I made that number up, but what you see here is a list of numbers, DIDs that exist that have been set up in the contact center, so they could choose from, any one of those, or as I say, you see what I mean? They could just enter one on the fly. So either is an option. And again, for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to go there's no point setting all these up. You get the idea. Leave those as not set up for now. Okay. In this case, we just set up one queue to keep it clean. So that's all we have to do. For the main menu, some customers may say, well, I technically want the main menu open all the time. I want people to be able to call and hear the main menu. But then under that, I don't necessarily want billing, let's say, being open all the time. Right? So we might choose Eastern Seaboard for that. And if I had extra queues here, you could see each queue can have a different schedule. They can be completely independent, no problem. And what's happening here is it's flagging that, hey, the current schedule is set to open 24/7. That's fine that you're making this change. Please be aware you're basically shifting the hours of this queue, which were set up, to what you've now specified here, right? If that makes sense. Okay, and then this step is, after hours is fairly straightforward. What happens when it's outside of this voicemail box, right? Give it a description, upload your file, and that's for the main menu. For billing, again, you've got that choice, right? Again, these same options. Queue's not an option here after hours, but you could say the same thing, right? You could just say, well, go to the after hours box and say, no can do. No agent, as we covered earlier, look, mechanically virtually identical, but it's just a different context. It's during open hours and there wasn't someone available, so the prompt is a little different accordingly. You would use a different WAV file in theory for that. for that purpose. Let's say you wanted to do a blind transfer in this context. Okay, that's actually mostly it. I'm going to publish it now. I've intentionally left a bunch of things blank. A, to respect your time, and B, because I don't necessarily want to publish this. I want it to fail so I can show you what errors look like. That's totally okay. Ah, see, it didn't like what I did. I need voice mount parameters for the main menu, no agent condition. I need a prompt for all the languages. After hours, I made a few errors. Now what we should see, there we go. See? And it'll flag them on the page, which I really like. That makes it so much easier to just skim the page and say, whoops, okay, didn't upload there. Thanks, Bill, appreciate that. No errors here, great. Whoops, oh, I didn't upload that one, okay. You can see, you can just go through, and the great thing is, as I said earlier, you don't lose anything. I was on step 4, I went back to step 1. If I've been making changes and fixing errors as I go, nothing will be lost. I can hop back and forth, and sometimes that's necessary. Like maybe you have to get a teammate to record a prompt. You can't solve this right now. That's okay. Fix what you can, come back to it later. It's all saved. You're not going to lose anything. So we're pretty much done. Again, I'm not going to make it live on this staging account, but when I hit this, and it does successfully publish because I fixed all my errors, it's literally a few minutes, everyone. I usually see it within 20, 30 seconds. I've seen it take a little longer, but it's really quick, especially if they're used to quote unquote the old way. That's mostly it. I'm gonna stop this screen share now. Okay, and I'm just gonna bring up our presentation and try to close us out here. Think we got most of the questions. And again, everyone, we will follow up with any questions we didn't get to or that I wasn't able to answer. Really appreciate your time, participation, all the emojis that helped keep me going during the presentation. That was awesome. We hope you're as excited for this as we are. So as I say, we're looking forward to it later this month. The promo we mentioned, just literally, just a day or so, and you'll start seeing those materials. So please do stay tuned. We're really looking forward to rolling this out to you and your customers. We think it's going to make a huge difference. And again, we really appreciate you all being here, spending your time, and the excellent participation today. So unless there's anything else, moderators, I think that's it. Thank you so much, everybody.